Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Level 1 Podcast. I'm DSP. It is Sunday, the 19th of May, 2024, and ladies and gentlemen, it is React Day, meaning today is the day of the week that we break up the gameplay to do something a little different, have some fun hanging out, watching clips, watching back my old playthroughs, and in general, enjoying non-gameplay content, which is good. That I don't have to just sit here every single day doing this. As I said, as I get older, there'll probably be less of this and more of doing other things. And that's why I like React Sundays. So, I hope you're all doing well. I hope that so far your week is treating you well. We are now entering a new week, correct? And this week is going to be full of all kinds of fun stuff, including a brand new game in Hellblade 2, the huge balance patch and Akuma release in Street Fighter 6, among other things. And I'm excited for the week. I'm feeling positive and fun. What I'd like to do today on the show is very simply recap my final thoughts about Another Crab's Treasure now that I've completed the game. And get this, 100%ed it. Does that mean I got absolutely every single collectible and item in the game? No, I missed a few of the upgrade items to get like maximum health. But to get every achievement in the game, you actually didn't need to find all of those. I did happen to get all of the shells and things. And basically, I really enjoyed this game way more than I thought I was going to. It's a wild, like, 25, 26-hour ride. And I'd like to talk about it today because I think a lot of people wrote this game off saying that it was just too cutesy. Oh, it's a Souls-like, but look at that. It's cartoony. You're a crab. This is stupid. Some people just have closed minds, and I hate to say it, but what I think this genre of game needs is more creative takes on it. Rather than everything being gothic, dark, gory horror, to have something that's a lot different actually was quite refreshing. So, we'll talk about that today on the show. Outside of that, I'll be honest with you guys, besides an update about DSP Throwback, because some people have had questions about the videos over there that I'd like to clarify, we don't really have much to talk about today. There's no news today in gaming. I was checking, really nothing going on. I really don't have any major updates in regards to, anything there. So basically the way I see it, we'll have a chill day. Likely, if we have time, maybe we can open up the suggestion box, check out some of those, do Q&A, whatever you guys want, because kind of a time to do whatever, no big scheduled events or anything like that. So, by the way, really minor update. If you have been watching my content in the last week or so, I have my air conditioner installed now here in the office, and I've been having frustrations because during streams I'm trying to adjust it and it's not agreeing with me. And I'm like, what is it? Maybe it's because I lost the door to the controller and it's busted or something. Maybe I dropped it, right? Well, no, it was the batteries. I changed the batteries this morning and now this thing works perfectly fine. I can go up and down. It's working. I can change it on the fly. So it was just old batteries, put them in some nice Duracells, and now we're good to go. So just a little addendum for those of you who attend the live streams or who've been watching the Let's Play content in the last week, and you're like, gee, he gets frustrated every stream with his air conditioner. That's all it was. No big deal. Okay? All right, so today, what I'd like to do is take a good segment to talk about Another Crab's Treasure, update the schedule, talk a little bit about the videos on DSP Throwback, and then we'll see, what we're doing, what time it is, okay? So, here's the deal. Another Crab's Treasure, when I found out about this game a couple of months ago, that it would be coming to Game Pass, and it was going to be a Souls-like set under the sea, with cartoony graphics and a hermit crab as the main character, you're always skeptical. Gee, I wonder if it'll be any good, especially because the studio that made it, Aggro Crab, had only made one other game before that wasn't a Souls-like. So you always wonder, how good of a job are they going to do? Is it going to be one of these games that's worth playing like Lies of P? Or is it going to be one of these blah, boring spin-offs like Steel Rising or Thymesia that just doesn't really resonate? So, for me, I was intrigued because it's on Game Pass. And I was like, we're going to give it a shot. We're going to see if it's any good. If it ends up being good, great, right? And the thing was, it was perfect timing for me. Because I was about to finish up my Elden Ring second run playthrough, which I had played throughout the month of April, and end of April I was finishing it, right? So now we had this time between then and when the actual Shadow of the Erdtree DLC came out in Elden Ring in June, with nothing really going on, and it was the absolute perfect timing to pick up a game like Another Crab's Treasure and try it. And right from the get-go, I can tell you, the game is the game makers are a huge fan of FromSoft. There are direct references in this game to things from both Dark Souls, Elden Ring, and Sekiro. For example, in the very first open area, there's an optional boss that rides up on, it looks like on a horse. It's not. It basically has like crab legs, but it's kind of like a guy on a horse. And he's incredibly powerful. In fact, he's way OP for the beginning of the game. And basically, it's an optional challenge. If you beat him, you get a good early reward, like a ton of these leveling microplastics, what they call them in this game, microplastics rather than souls. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Yeah. It's literally a direct reference and homage to the Tree Sentinel that's at the very beginning of Elden Ring, an early game optional boss you don't have to fight, but man, if you take him on and beat him, you get great early game rewards, right? I would say there's two major differences between a FromSoft game and Another Crab's Treasure. The first is obviously the atmosphere. While Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, they all have this like gothic, dark horror approach. Another Crab's Treasure is more, how can I say, creative with the way that it actually makes its world. You're underwater in the ocean floor, and everything is made by litter from humans. The buildings are discarded bottles and cardboard boxes. The roads are receipts from a drugstore, right? The, spires are actually just a pencil. And the whole game is like that. Just things that have fallen from the upper world underwater becomes the world of Another Crab's Treasure. And as you're exploring, every area looks a little different. You go from this kind of like undersea kingdom to then going through like almost like a forest into a city, which actually looks like a big city that humans would live in. And then you get to a giant open like ocean floor area where it's just completely open world, similar to Elden Ring, where you can explore and do all kinds of optional stuff, or you can go right to the story objectives, of which there's two major areas with big dungeons there. And then eventually the game kind of continues and takes you into other areas. Like there's a really deep sea area where you can't see because you're so far down. And there's actually a mechanic where you can find a hidden item that'll light it up and it makes it a lot easier. And then you start getting really creepy creatures and things coming out, like ginormous snow crabs that are shooting huge laser beams down on you. Yeah, it feels epic. You know how in Elden Ring you're fighting the giant like stone dudes with giant axes and stuff? Well, they have stuff like that in this game. It's pretty wild. The other major difference between FromSoft and Another Crab's Treasure is the traversal. While FromSoft games pretty much just rely on you running around, or in Elden Ring riding the horse and jumping around, in this game there's a lot of traversal with a zip line, which is essentially they say it's a fisherman's hook with like a, you can pull yourself like a zip line, like almost like Batman's bat claw, and it's used a ton. It's absolutely used a lot. You're going to be zip lining between hooks. You're going to be ziplining up ledges and platforms. You're going to be grabbing onto these nettings that are all over the place to climb. And definitely that is one of the big differences. It feels like a hybrid game between, say, almost like a PS2 era platformer, right? Like Ratchet and Clank or Jak and Daxter is kind of that platforming element combined with the combat and difficulty of a FromSoft game. Because when it comes to the difficulty of the combat, it's quite challenging. Pretty much every enemy in this game will kill you in 2 hits until you start leveling up. One of the unique mechanics is the shell mechanic. In FromSoft games, you can either block or parry because you have a shield. Well, in this game, you have a shell. And it's the same premise where you can just hold it and reduce damage. But you can unlock a parry where as you're blocking, you release the block. And if you release the block with the correct timing, you knock away the enemy attack, which then allows you to do a follow-up attack. And eventually, you'll actually have the ability through parrying and through just hitting enemies to fill up their stun bar. Sound familiar? And when the stun bar fills, the enemy will then capsize, meaning they will flip on their back. Now, you have the ability, you can buy this ability to do a down attack. So it's like a big visceral giant plunging attack into them once they're capsized for giant punish damage. So the game can be a combination of platforming and traversal, skillful combat, but also using the parry system a la Sekiro, but also filling up a stun bar, which is also similar to Sekiro, or maybe even you could argue Bloodborne. There's a lot to the game's mechanics that are very interesting and unique, because it's a combination of all the things that are from FromSoft. But of course, all the staples of FromSoft are there. Are there bonfires? Well, no, there's moon shells, but they're exactly the same thing, right? Are there healing items? Are they flasks? No, they're heart kelp, but they're exactly the same thing, right? There are some unique things. For example, you can level up the hook so that it becomes almost like a like Scorpion's spear from Mortal Kombat. So you can zip the hook into an enemy, and then there's a little mini game mechanic. And if you pass it, you can pull the enemy to you, and they're stunned, so you get like a free combo. Later on, you can get an ability where actually you hook them and you propel yourself towards them for a giant like flying attack that does big damage and stun. So there are a few unique things about the game. It's not all just, oh, it's 100% like FromSoft. There are things that I felt stood out in the combat of the game that made it very different. Notably, there's going to be times in the game when you either defeat a boss or you find a secret, and this will give you a special item that allows you to have a ability, okay? Now, I actually forget even what these are called, but basically they're pretty big. The first one you ever get is, I believe when you beat the first boss, you can have a giant claw will swing out and just, bam, smack an enemy. It'll do a big chunk of damage and a big chunk of stun. And so what's important is you could actually be doing a combo and then do this and kind of finish the combo with it to knock over an enemy. You have a magic meter called an Umami meter. Do you see what I mean? Like, everything is related to undersea stuff. So an Umami meter rather than a magic meter. And basically, the way I see it is, it's cool because it's like micromanagement, but at the same time, if you play it well, you can actually do really well. So there's all these special abilities. Each shell has its own special ability. Some shells have like a magic little mines you can put out that'll attack enemies. Some shells will have you do a special attack where you jump and you swing. It's really cool the way that it's done. I really, really enjoyed all the different abilities and magic that was in Another Crab's Treasure. So the key to being good at Another Crab's Treasure is essentially finding a build. You could do a magic build that's based on your abilities from the bosses or from the shells. You could do a build that's based on giant damage output. You could do a build where you become a huge tank and can't take much damage. You could do a build, this is the build I did, where you do monstrous stun. And this build worked for me. Basically, about halfway through the game, I got the items that I needed to equip to become this stun monster. So anytime I fought an enemy, I would run up and that's a key thing I forgot to mention. You only have one weapon. It's the fork, which is very similar to, say, the katana in Sekiro, okay? But you have the ability to turn the fork into a giant hammer by stabbing a shell that you don't need, okay? Now, the hammer breaks, and you have to find another shell to rejuvenate it, but basically, this just goes on forever, and you can keep having this hammer, which has giant stun on a swing. The catch is it's slow. So what you want to do is get to a point where an enemy is kind of wide open and just wail on them, and within 2-3 hits, they get stunned. And now you can do this downing attack, and that's it. It's done. There's nothing they can do. Once you get boss abilities, for example, there's an ability where a giant octopus tentacle swings along with your attacks. Now you're doing double damage and double stun on every single enemy. And I use this to steamroll tons of bosses in the game. They just had no answer for it. There's also an ability that electrocutes all the enemies in an area, so now they're all stunned, and you can just take them out one by one. And then if they unstun, by then you've probably rejuvenated enough magic to just use it again. So the game has builds that you can find that are very, very useful. I would argue, if you get a good build, this game is easier than any FromSoft game. Okay? But the thing is, you might not find a good build in your first run, or maybe you just get tired of the same build and you want to mix it up, and you can make the game more challenging in that regard. Also, going along with that, there's a mode where you can have a gun. Yes, the gun is your shell, and you can shoot enemies for instant kills. And you might say, well, what fun is that? Well, first of all, it's just silly fun to go through a game running around as a giant gun shooting things, okay? But it's for accessibility purposes. Let's say you know someone who's young, who doesn't want a super challenging game and just wants a cutesy crab game. They could use the gun. What if there's someone who, has a disability? They can't be doing super great timing on parries and the like. Have them use the gun. And so they can still enjoy the game while others would like the difficulty of the base game, and they'll play it at that level. And that's the funny thing about it is, all this time with FromSoft games, right? You've seen them say, well, we don't want to add accessibility. That would kind of, cheapen our game. This game literally, from the get-go, has accessibility. Did it cheapen the game? No, I played it normally. I chose to play it normally. So why would I care that there's an accessibility mode, right? So it's funny because to have a Souls-like game have the accessibility in it kind of destroyed the entire argument FromSoft has made all along. I don't think that if FromSoft games had accessibility that it would destroy them. People would still play them for the challenge, and others would play them just for the fun to explore, and I think it's still good. I don't think that you have to have this gatekeeping attitude when it comes to these hyper difficult games, honestly. I think this game kind of destroyed it. Anyway, I basically scratched the surface of what this game has, but so much content, tons of hidden bosses that you have to find through exploration, tons of shells. There's 69 shells in the game. 69. I don't know if there's significance to that, but there's 69 shells in the game. And they range from some great creative things. You know, a printer cartridge from a printer that a human would use. A baby doll's head. You know, a dirty sock. Yes, that's actually a shell in the game. And again, each one having a completely unique ability. One of the best ones I found, a Nintendo 64 cartridge. That was so cool. And actually, some of these shells are cool because they buff you. They'll give you bonus damage or bonus magic or something like that. And it's really cool. So, overall, this game is great. And it nails the spirit of a FromSoft game. It dead on nails it what you're looking for. Okay? I like that a lot about it. I think that it's really well done in that regard. And I actually feel like this game is so good, it could inspire other people to make games like this that don't have to be dark gothic horror. You understand? The game has horror in it. Don't get me wrong. There's dark themes, there's gothic themes, there's things in it, but it just doesn't have to make the entire game permeated with that. In fact, just to give you a little bit of perspective here, the story of the game is well written to the point where at the end, there's distinct character development. The main character grows and changes, and it completely sets this game up for an awesome sequel. You know, all the things that FromSoft games don't do, that's exactly what this game did with its plot. So, am I saying it's better than a FromSoft game? No, obviously not. It borrows so much from them. You can tell the game is a direct homage. I mean, the whole final area of the game is a combination of Faro Missoula and Anne Orlando. It's like blatantly done like that because you can tell they're such fans of those games. But at the same time, I wish more companies would now look at this game and say, all right, so if I'm going to make a Souls-like, it doesn't have to be Bloodborne. It doesn't have to be Dark Souls. It doesn't have to be dark gothic horror. It doesn't have to be me biting off of 90% of the themes of a FromSoft game. You can go in different directions and do creative things with that formula, and it works. I would much rather play Another Crab's Treasure over Steel Rising or Thymesia or Lords of the Fallen. It's more creative to me. It's more fun. I had excitement going into it every day, as opposed to you play one of those spin-off games. It's like, well, I guess I'll just go through the motions of the combat again. And what's the point? Like, you know that it's a disposable spin-off. This game is not. It's unique. I had a ton of fun with it. The problem is, there's so many people now, they've been programmed in their brains to think that this genre of game must be adult-oriented, right? If it's not supreme dark horror with, you know, a head count of thousands and gore and things ripping apart and just being absolutely disgusting and terrifying, then it's not good, right? First of all, the game is scary. There's tons of bosses and things in this game that are crazy, creepy, and scary and challenging and just as good as a FromSoft game, in my opinion, just they look cartoony, right? So if you get past the cartoony look of the game, it's got what you want, but you have to get past this kind of stigma, this kind of, oh, well, it ain't for me because it ain't, you know, it's a kid's game. Well, it's not a kid's game. It is a kid's game if you play with the gun, but outside of that, the moment that you start playing with the real game mechanics, it's very much for someone who wants challenge. So you have to get past that first level of, oh, it's not Dark Souls, it's too cutesy and kiddie. And if you actually give it a chance, I think you're really going to like it. I think the fact that the game is on Game Pass is going to give a lot of people the push to check it out who normally wouldn't. Because, you know, you don't have to pay for it. If you already have a Game Pass subscription, you just got it, well, give it a look now, right? As opposed to, oh, I have to sink $30, $40, $50 into it to try it. The truth is, I would have gladly paid $50, $60 for this game. I got 26 hours of gameplay out of it. At the end, I liked this so much, I went back and I found the remaining shells that I hadn't found in my playthrough. I 100%ed it. I got all 1,000 gamer points in the game. It's that good of a game that I wanted to do that. And by the way, the game has silly reference. It has an actual bonfire reference to Dark Souls. And yes, Solaire's outfit, Praise the Sun, is actually in the game. It also has direct references to SpongeBob and other pop culture things. So it knows what it is. It's self-aware, and it does a good job of that. You see? So, I love this game. I make no exaggeration. If you look at the games that I've played this year, right? Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. It's a great game, but kind of disappointing in the story department, and that's sad because the story is the main focus of an RPG. So although I love the combat, I love the graphics, I love a lot of the different improved elements to cities or whatever, I actually think the first game is better because the story's better. Okay? You know, if you look at a lot of the games this year that I played, they're kind of in that same boat. I couldn't really tell you, oh, this game was amazing, right? Another Crab's Treasure is the first game in 2024 that I've actually played, and I was like, wow, that game was really good. I'm super happy that I played it and gave it a shot. And, you know, it's kind of weird. Dude, we are almost halfway into the year, and that's the first game that I actually felt that. That's literally the first game that I'm like, Game of the Year contender for me. So what is going on with modern gaming exactly, right? Seriously, the question had, like, what is going on that little game that no one gave a chance is actually, for me, the best game of the year, but all these other big games didn't really catch my interest. I stopped playing half of them, right? Like, it's a hell of a year, that's for sure. Now, keep in mind, right around the corner, we have Summer Game Fest, we have the Xbox conference, and we have a Sony event and supposedly even a Nintendo event. Hopefully, in the month of June, we're going to get all of our answers about all new games coming out, and we can start to get hype again about video games. But right now, it's hard. It's very hard to get excited because all the games coming out are kind of lackluster or samey, and we don't even have release dates for half the games that are supposed to be big this year. So it's like, let's see what happens. But man, another Crab's Treasure, I tell you guys, you are missing out if you don't check out this game and you like Souls-like games. This is one of the best I've ever played. I mean, I'm not kidding you now. Last year, I played Lies of P, and I told you guys Lies of P was one of my favorite games of the year, and essentially it's Bloodborne 2. I think I enjoyed Another Crab's Treasure pretty much about as much as Lies of P. I'm serious. It's different. It's definitely a different theme. It's gothic. It's not gothic or anything, but it's that good. So I recommend it. The only real complaint is the wonkiness of the platforming. You can tell that the platforms are a little bit not 100%. You can sometimes clip through, and it's a little frustrating. We have to redo a segment. But for the most part, the game dead on hits what you would want from any kind of a FromSoft style Souls-like. So give it a look. I strongly recommend it. Okay? Cool. So I finished Another Crab's Treasure yesterday. As I said, I 100%ed it. How often do I 100% a game? Almost never. So that's, I guess, a testament to the game, how much I liked it, right? Last night, we were supposed to play Helldivers 2. I booted up the game. We started walking around, and immediately everyone was like, just not feeling it. Helldivers 2, I hate to say it, it's kind of ran its course for me. I played it for about a month. You have about 20 hours of gameplay. There's just not enough to do in the game anymore. Like, I'm going to boot it up. I'm going to go kill the same bugs, the same robots, the same game modes. There's really nothing to unlock. Like, the next time I can unlock something in my War Bond is 347 medals. So what's that going to take me? Like 4 streams to unlock? And then I can unlock a new War Bond where I just start grinding again. You know, it just seems like that game, because the game is team-based. The game is going to be one of those games similar to any of these other team-based games. If you're playing with a set group of players who you're friends with, it's fun. You're going to have that camaraderie. You're going to have that team-based gameplay, that, you know, talking back and forth. It'll be good. But outside of that, once you get to a certain level, it's just kind of meh. And that's kind of where I feel like I've gotten. Like, I don't feel like there's anything else to do in the game for me. If the game updates and has a new enemy race and has a new planet or a new game mode or a ton of new content, I'd be more than willing to jump back into it. But at this point, I feel like I've gotten as far as I'm going to get in the game. I don't really think there's much else to do, and I'm getting bored even just looking at it. So I am going to take it out of the rotation. And what I did last night, we just did a 2-hour chill stream where we just kind of sat down and we talked and had a good time together. And that was personally fine for me. Like, I had a fine enough time with that I know that moving forward, we could do other stuff. It's going to be all right. It's not like there's a giant gap in the schedule because I've decided to not play Helldivers 2 anymore for now. Especially with the stuff coming out this week. We got a new game coming out on Tuesday with Hellblade 2. We got all this new content in Street Fighter 6 I want to explore. And then we've got other stuff like the System Shock remake that I might play. There's Thousand Year Door remake. There's the Multiverse is coming out. And the more things we can go back to or explore. For example, Indies Marathon this Saturday, which I'll talk about in a second. I guarantee you, during that Indies Marathon, there's going to be 1 or 2 games that we're all going to look at and be like, that's a good game. You should keep playing it. That always happens when I do an Indies Marathon. So, yeah, I just what I'm feeling is like, we're good. We don't have to worry about, oh, no, now I'm not going to have anything to play because I'm quitting Helldivers 2. It's more like, it's time. It's time to move on and do other stuff. You know, I've seen what the game is. I understand why people like it. I like it to some extent, but I've kind of reached the limits of what I can do with it and make it fun and entertaining. I'm personally bored with it, you know? Okay. So there you have it. Let's talk about the schedule. Okay? So today is React Day, meaning after this podcast, we are leaving DSP Gaming and heading over to DSP Reacts, my sister channel, youtube.com/@DSP And on that channel, we're going to be doing the weekly show, DSP versus the Internet, where I watch clips as submitted by the channel members from all over the internet. I'm excited to see what was submitted this week. Probably a good variety of stuff, I would assume. Seems like a lot of the videos were longer form, so we may have some that we're skipping around a bit, because as you know, it's a clips show. I'm not going to sit there watching a 20, 30-minute video. I'm going to watch a few minutes of each video. But, yeah, I'm excited to see what people came up with. It's usually big variety and fun, and you never know what you're going to see, so excited for the show, and I hope you guys will join me for it. Okay? By the way, any support you lend on this stream counts towards that stream. Meaning, if we hit like a tips goal or whatever, that carries over to that stream. I don't just hit a reset button and restart my streaming goals and stuff just because we're changing channels or anything like that. Okay. So that's the first stream tonight on the late stream. I'm excited because over on DSP Throwback, which again, youtube.com/@DSP Throwback, on that channel, it's going to be the continuation of my retro replay of Dark Souls 1. I'm excited for this. We last did it 3 months ago. You realize it's been that long? It didn't seem that long. But yeah, you know, we did a month and a half of Heavy Rain. Then we did a month and a half of The Walking Dead. And in between, we had Bully. So it's been 3 months since we actually watched that original Dark Souls 1 run. And we had fun. Like, to watch me, you know, the first time I ever played it, not understanding what I was doing and getting basically stomped into paste as I was, it was actually quite exciting and funny. You know, I'm laughing at myself and yelling at myself, oh my god, you idiot, just hit that boss or do this or do that. And I was like biting my nails in suspense. So we're going to pick up where we left off. We had left off at the Taurus demon. Okay, so we're going to see that. You know, how do I beat that demon and move on? If I remember, right after that is the Fire Drake that keeps killing you on the bridge and stuff like that. So that should be fun. I hope you'll join me for that on the late stream. Over on DSP Throwback, it should be a good time. Now, if it goes well, we may just keep doing that game every Sunday night. If it doesn't go so well, or maybe people are like, it went well, but we don't want to do the same thing every week again, we can mix it up. You know, there were runners up to the poll. For example, Mario and Sonic at the 2012 Olympic Games is a really great playthrough co-op with myself and 2 of my my former friends from back in the day. Super good. That's a playthrough to this day I still watch if I want to like cheer myself up or just have good vibes. I watch some of that playthrough and I laugh my ass off. It's that funny and good of a playthrough. Or some people have voted for Metal Gear Solid 1. So maybe that, you know, we have options. So basically what I'd like to do is see how Dark Souls does tonight and gauge off of that. If it does well and people really liked it, we can continue. Keep in mind, my original Dark Souls 1 run is not long. I didn't beat the game. I rage quit it because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't have a strategy guide. There were no online wikis back then. So literally, as I was playing it, I got to Blight Town. I had no clue what was going on or where to go. And I just said, F it. And I gave up and quit. So it is a good playthrough up to that point. But it's not super long. I would say it's probably not even 20 hours long, I don't think. So we could watch it in its entirety over the course of, you know, several weeks, depending on what you want. Let's see. Let's see how it goes tonight, okay? Tomorrow, Monday, we return back to our regularly scheduled gameplay. And tomorrow, Monday, it's going to be the continuation of Fallout 4, and that's going to be paired with a late-night chill Street Fighter 6 stream. I just want to play Blanca. I literally just want to have one last go with Blanca before they update the game on Wednesday and change it all. So it'll be the last hurrah for the first iteration of Street Fighter 6, before we wave goodbye and see big changes coming on Wednesday. It should be a good time, okay? Then Tuesday, all day long, I'll be playing Hellblade 2, the brand new game. the sequel to Senua's Sacrifice. What is this one called? I don't even remember. But it's Hellblade 2. So I'll be doing that all day Tuesday, both streams. And you might say, well, why are you doing it all day? Because I got a lot of stuff coming up where I'm not going to be able to keep switching games, too frequently. So I'd like to get a lot of the game in on launch day. So that way we get a foothold into it before we have to take several days away from it to go back to it. Okay. Then on Wednesday, it's going to be the release of Akuma and the balance update for Street Fighter 6. And yes, I'll be playing Street Fighter 6 all day long on Wednesday. Likely I'll start in tutorial mode / trials mode with Akuma to learn his basics. I want to learn all the new stuff. They're going to explain it in the game. And then go into like trial or training mode and get some bread and butter combos and strategies down. Then take them online in custom matches, see what we can do. And then eventually go to, ranked and stuff like that. Now, will I be using Akuma all day? I don't know, because here's the thing. Even though I want to try the new character, I'm going to be very tempted to want to use my existing fighters, all 5 of them who I have in Master, try them out and see what the changes are, right? So it's going to be very tempting. It's like, do I do Akuma all day? Or do I split the day and have the first stream just be a taste of Akuma, and then the late stream we try characters? I don't know. We'll play it by ear and see what happens, okay? I'm off from streaming on Thursday. On Friday, I'm going to split the day, I think. I think on Friday, the first stream, I'll probably do Hellblade 2. And then the late stream, I'm doing something special for Friday Night Fights, but I'm just not going to announce it yet. I'm going to announce it later this week. But Friday night, I'm doing something special for the Friday Night Fights and for the Ballast patch of Street Fighter 6. That's all I'm saying, okay? Excuse me. Then that Saturday, May 25th, is my Indies Marathon. Right here on DSP Gaming, we're going to be doing indie games on my PC, my mini PC, that is. So that means I have to boot it up at some point this week. I have to do all the updates for it because I haven't done them in months. And basically what I need to do is get all the indie games installed that you guys are currently voting for. You might be saying, voting for? What are you talking about? There's a poll right now. If you type !indies into the chat, a poll will open up. You vote on the indie games you want to see. Right now, the #1 game that will be played is Noita. This one actually got the most nominations of any indie game by you. So that one we're playing for sure. But outside of that, there's a good variety of indie games in the running that I'd be curious to see, how it would work. So please vote. That will determine the games that I'm definitely going to be picking and playing for that marathon event. Okay? And so that's going to be all day Saturday. Likely, as I've already stated, what's going to end up happening is some of those games will be very good and you guys will want to see more of them. And then I'll end up playing them as actual playthroughs in the future. All right? That Sunday, a week from today, is React Day. So then the next time I'm really going to get to sink my teeth into gaming is Monday. And so, see what I mean about wanting to get really far in Hellblade 2? Because if I don't play it all day Tuesday, likely I'd only be able to play it like twice in a whole week and not get very far. If I play it all day Tuesday and then again on Friday, we might even beat it, which would be good. So, all right, guys, thank you. That is the schedule for what is coming up. I hope you guys are excited for that. I hope you think that that sounds good, because I'll be honest, a lot of that you determined, right? Like, you determined all these indie games and things that we're doing. So thank you for that. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your suggestions. I really appreciate when people contribute to this channel and tell me what it is that they're interested in. And hopefully this whole week and a half coming up sounds good to you. It sounds great to me. I think it's going to be pretty exciting around here with all the new stuff every single day. Fair enough? Okay. And so I've literally covered all the important topics. There is one other very small topic that I would like to cover before we kind of open up the show. As you know, the DSP Throwback channel, which is one of the 2 sister channels to this one, is a channel that I started back in January. The whole idea is to get missing playthroughs from my past that are very, noteworthy. Ones that people really liked from back in the day, but for whatever reason are no longer on the internet. Basically, the whole point is to get those back on the internet in some capacity. So playthroughs that were missing that are now back on the internet, Final Fantasy 13 in its entirety, as well as the original Red Dead Redemption. Okay? Excellent. Those are playthroughs that people liked from back in the day that have been gone, and now they're back, and you can watch them fully. Now, they're upscaled, full HD, 60 frames per second, 30-minute parts, properly titled, in thumbnails, in playlists. So now you can actually watch it in a digestible format, okay? That's cool. For the longest time, they were just missing from the internet because of nonsense. So we have others that we're working on. Okay, right now, currently, we have Fallout 3, which is my original run for my Dark Side Fill channel in 2008, which looked absolutely atrociously bad. I didn't even use a widescreen camera. So these videos are taking a 4:3 distorted aspect ratio and stretching it out to be widescreen, upscaling the video and all of that. And then the other playthrough that just began the other day is LA Noire. Part 1 went live on Friday, and now Part 2 just went live this morning, okay? This playthrough, actually, in my opinion, looks really good. I've been watching it back, and I'm really enjoying myself. In fact, last night, I watched Part 2 and titled it, and I was like, you know, I really don't remember this playthrough very well, and the game is great. Like, I'm watching, I'm like, dude, I want to keep watching, but I can't keep watching because it doesn't exist. You know, my editors are working on the raw videos right now to get them edited and on YouTube. There's no other way for me to watch the playthrough. So I'm like, damn, I can't wait to see this playthrough continue. So anyway, that's going on right now. You may have noticed, both in the Fallout and the LA Noire playthrough, audio distortion, okay? People are bringing it up, saying this doesn't sound so good, but there's a good reason for that. These playthroughs were done back in the day, and when I used to have all the music on. If you remember, YouTube didn't really care about music and videos until around 2013, and then all of a sudden, they flipped the switch on this content ID algorithm, and it destroyed everybody's channels. Literally, thousands upon thousands of videos of a backlog all got hit with this thing that either would mute the video, copyright strike the video, remove the video from YouTube entirely or in certain territories, or claim all revenue on the video for someone who owns the rights to a song playing in the background. Literally none of that's legal. Just to make this clear, none of those actions are actually legal. The true course of action should be that if someone claims that they own a song that's used in the video, well, then a certain percentage, perhaps, of the rights or the ownership or ad revenue on that video should be given to this company. It shouldn't be the company now owns your video, blocks your video, and does whatever they want with it. But that's how YouTube operates. They literally break the law hundreds of thousands of times on a daily basis, and no one does anything about it. Everyone's like, oh, well, we just put up with it because YouTube is the only place to upload videos. Anyway, the reason I bring this up is because if you're wondering why there's audio distortion in the Fallout 3 and LA Noire playthroughs, it's because I have to do it. If I didn't do that, all that music that's playing in the background, particularly on the Pip-Boy in Fallout 3 or on the car radio in LA Noire, literally that music would be getting those videos flagged and taken down and blocked and muted and claimed, which kind of undermines the whole point of me putting the playthrough back on the internet. Why am I putting it back on if it's just going to get taken down or muted again, right? So it sucks. There's nothing you can really do about it. You got to kind of play the game. So to play the game, I have to distort the audio. So you can hear my voice. You can somewhat hear background music, but you can't really hear anything in the atmosphere. And that sucks. And I wish that I could fix that. I can't. That's because YouTube sucks. There's really no other explanation. That's just because of YouTube's fault. Okay? Now, the other thing, people already have complained about it this morning. Immediately when this part 2 of LA Noire starts, a word is bleeped. Well, not bleeped, it's muted. And people are like, why are you censoring yourself? These are supposed to be your raw videos. Once again, it's the YouTube game. YouTube has a new thing they started about a year or two ago. If you swear at all in the first 30 seconds to 60 seconds of any video, if you have a swear word in the title of your video, if you have a swear word in the description or stuff under your video, basically, anywhere if you have adult content in the first minute of any video, your video immediately gets demonetized. Just not suitable for advertisers. No exaggeration. You want to know the word that I said at the beginning of the video? Dick. Dick. Is that a swear word? Dick? If you walk down the street and said dick, 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 are people going to look at you and be like, oh my God, what the hell is this guy saying? Maybe if you were screaming, fuck, 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 baby, but the word dick? I mean, you can argue that there's uses of it that are harsh or meant as an expletive, but you can't even say that that's really like a strong expletive. Well, guess what? We uploaded part 2 of LA Noire, and it's, you know, right at the beginning I say dick, and they demonetized it. So we had to pull the video down. We had to re-edit it. It's like, this is fucking stupid, man. YouTube is so dumb. It really is. It's get the fuck out of here, right? So anyway, we had to do that. And There's nothing I can do about it, and that's what I mean. Like, I don't want to edit these playthroughs. I would much rather have them be raw, but I can't do that anymore. Like, this playthrough that I put up in 2011 was fully allowed. All the music was completely acceptable. Wouldn't get claimed, muted, blocked, nothing. It would all be fine. Me saying dick, 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 no one would care. But now, YouTube has completely changed. It's so dumb that they've done that, and it pisses me off. So, I apologize. Listen, I don't want, you know, the word dick to be bleeded. Who cares about that, right? Unless you're like 4 years old, it's not a big deal. But YouTube cares. YouTube treats it like it's some big offense. So I had to re-edit the video, you know, to make sure that it was able to be monetized. And I mean, what's the point of me having a channel where I'm uploading videos if I can't monetize them, right? Yes, the primary purpose of the channel is posterity. And yes, honestly, I make very little on that channel. I'm not kidding you. I make like $1 a day of ad revenue. The only real revenue I make on that channel is tonight on the Retro React stream. People support the stream. That's where I make money on that channel. That's literally it. I don't make money elsewise on that channel. So, you know, for the little that I make, yeah, and for the amount of work that's going into these videos to make them visible to you now, I obviously want the video to be monetizable, okay? So, apologies, because some people really have a big issue with it. You know, I don't like it myself. I think it's very stupid, but I've got to put up with it just like everyone else does on YouTube. It's very dumb policy, but that's the policy YouTube has. So, we got to roll with it. Okay? All right, guys. We have a little bit of extra time. By the way, we have one contribution so far this morning. It's a $1 tip, and I'll read it out in a little bit. Nothing else so far. So I guess if we have some time here, excuse me, I think we can swap over and we can try suggestion box. Now, I'm trying to see when was the last suggestion that I read out of the suggestion box. I don't even know. I'm just going to jump in the middle of the suggestion box at this point because I don't know where I left off. Let's see. We read this one already. I know that. Let's see. Okay, we'll start here because I don't remember answering these here. I remembered answering the ones previous, but I don't remember answering these particular ones. We'll start here. All right. I noticed there are 2 fan-made montages on the Throwback channel. Now there's actually many more. I think there's now 4 or 5. I think it would be great to set up a thread on the channel for submitting favorite moments from your older playthroughs that can go into future montages like that. It can even make it easier for the editor who puts these together, as they wouldn't need to manually search for those moments, just require commenters to include a timestamp along with the link to the video and a brief description of what happens. Editing this comment to add to this idea would work well for the Reacts channel too. Let us submit our favorite reactions from DSP versus the Internet, Tier Makers, Feasting with Phil. This allows editors to whip together a fun montage. You can consider this for your main DSP Gaming channel too, but I wouldn't want to overwork the editors with making too many montages, but it's a lot more streamlined when these moments are crowdsourced from fans. I like the idea, but I have to test something. Hold on a second here. I definitely have to test something. If I go to a community post, like I'm staring at one right now. I knew it. Here's the problem with that idea. Okay, I like the idea. I wish that it would work, but I don't think it would work, and allow me to explain why. Okay? Let's say, for example, right now, on the DSP Throwback channel, I make a community post. And it says, submit your favorite moments from my playthroughs over the years. We'll consider these for future montages. Okay, great. That'll work for maybe a week or two. People will see it there as the highlighted community post. But undoubtedly what will happen is within another week or two, I'll do more community posts, right? Oh, the new stream is live, or an update on the channel, stuff like that. So that community post will just go bump, 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 keep getting bumped. Now on this channel, DSP Gaming, I stream every day. So every day we have these chat commands. So for example, the Indies command to nominate games for the Indies Marathon. Yeah, that post got bumped down days ago, but you should remember the command. So you can put the command in, I mention it every day, and more people nominate games or vote for games or whatever it may be. I don't stream every day on DSP Throwback, so there's literally no way to be reminded that that community post even exists so that people could do those moments. So sadly, what would happen, I'd put it up. Yeah, maybe initially in the first few days, we get a few people doing it, and then people would forget about it, and it would just stand there unused. And you might say, well, isn't there a way to highlight a community post? No. Actually, no. You can't pin it. You can't post it on your main channel page. Like, there's literally nothing you can do with community posts at all besides just post them. That's it. I know that sounds stupid because it really is. I definitively believe there should be a way to highlight posts on your channel. And by the way, I know this is going to sound really bad. Over a decade ago, you could. Over a decade ago on YouTube, you could completely customize your channel page. You could actually have a post like that that'll be right on the main page in the midst of all the videos and everything you show as a big highlight. And it would say, hey, everyone, pay attention to this. This is really important. Please check this out. And people will go and interact with it. They took that away over a decade ago. What they did is they made every single YouTube channel just look like a textbook page now. So all you can do is put up playlists on one tab and videos on one tab. And then on this tab is where the posts are. But you can't really do much with the posts. And then on this tab, there's something else. They screwed it up. It actually used to be way, way, way better. It used to be like a social media page. YouTube used to try to be like, oh, it was Facebook or it was something else. And you could use it like that. And it was actually very interactive and customizable and everything. They took it all away. So my problem with this suggestion isn't the suggestion. I like this suggestion. I would love for you guys to be able to submit a bunch of clips. And these would be your funny moments of the year or whatever. And we could use those later on in montages. Did you know I used to do that? Every year, I used to have people submit clips of the funniest moments of the year, and at the end of the year, I would use that in my fan-voted funniest moments of whatever that year was. And it was a series I did year-end every year. And then I had to stop doing it. You know, it's stupid. I wish we could do more, but sadly, it's YouTube's fault. YouTube took away all that functionality. Right now, if I could pin a post on my community tab to be the highlighted post, I could do exactly what this suggestion is saying. But there's no way to do that. And unless this person hears this and says, oh, I have a response, great. But I really don't know how I could use that because I don't feel like enough people would know about it. If I streamed every day on DSP Throwback and I could talk about it and use the link for it, you know, in the chat command, that'd be one thing. I don't know how people would even know about it. And that's sad, right? Okay. This person just says, remove all pre-streams and podcasts. No one listens to them. Okay. Thanks for the stupid suggestion. Can you have more variety in online game streams besides Friday Night Fights and so on? I'm not saying people are getting sick of seeing fighting game streams in the late night, but can you add other genres of games with online multiplayer that's not fighters or first-person, third-person shooters? I'm saying this because there's other genres with online multiplayer, racing, party, etc. Well, number one, I don't like racing games. I never did. I just don't enjoy driving that much in those games. It's a rarity that I would even play a game in a car. So I stay away from genres I don't enjoy. I particularly don't enjoy sports or racing. And I would say predominantly that's probably outside of shooters and fighting games. Those are probably the other two dominant multiplayer genres, are they not? I mean, I guess you could argue RTS as well, but I'm also not a PC gamer, so I wouldn't be able to really play RTS games on a console well. So I understand what you're saying, but the reason I'm not playing the multiplayer games it seems like you're looking for is because I just don't like those genres of games. I'm not going to force myself to play games I don't like. So there you go. OP Boone actually did this suggestion. He says, I watched an episode of DSP versus the Internet where you took a mental age quiz. So that was like 2 months ago. I found it pretty fun to play along and compare my results with yours. I'm sure the live chat also played along and had fun. Because videos like that are a great submission theme for a week. It would make the show much more interactive and fun, especially if members submit various different types of quizzes and videos to participate in. Remember to use your notes app to play along. You opened it during that video and forgot to write your answers down. That's true. I forgot to write my answers. I didn't know they were going to tally them up for the end. I had no clue. here's the thing, like people have suggested this. They said, for your React show, why don't you have themed weeks? Why don't you have a week where like you absolutely say that there should be a theme that everyone should submit, okay? Well, here's the thing. Once again, I like that idea, but the whole premise of the DSP Reacts channel and the DSP the DSP versus the Internet clip show is that you become a member, you submit your clip of your choice, and then I watch it, or it gets a random chance to be watched during the show, correct? It's not supposed to be you become a member and then I tell you what to submit. That's a whole different show, is it not? So I feel like if I did a show where I was like, okay, it's quiz week, everyone submit quizzes, right? It might work, but I think people might be upset. Wait a minute, I didn't become a member to submit quizzes. Like, I wanted him to watch this video this week. What gives? Why am I being limited to what I can submit now? And I think that might turn people off. I mean, let's be honest. Right now, we probably have between 20 to 40 people who submit clips a week. That's it. And that's the whole channel. And the good news is that's enough to actually make the channel viable, which is nice. But can you imagine if I then limited those anywhere from, 20 to 40 people to say, oh, now you have to submit certain kinds of clips too that I tell you what to submit. It's like, wait, what? So you might even reduce that number even further. It'd be one thing if like the channel had so many abundant members that were all submitting videos and every week we barely got to any of them. But as it's been in recent weeks, we almost get through all the videos, right? Because there's just not that many. So now to limit people for a theme, like the way I see it is, let's say a holiday's coming up. Let's say the 4th of July is going to be 1 week. So I say, hey, everyone, submit patriotic videos this week. It'd be nicely themed. You don't have to, but it's a suggestion because that way it'll be kind of themed to 4th of July and people will maybe like it a little more, right? I think like that's a way to go about it, but not to outright dictate you must submit a video of this style because then people might be turned off, right? So as a suggestion, I like it. As a demand, I don't, okay? And I guess that's a good point. Like, I didn't even think about that quiz video, that it did pretty well. People liked it and were engaged with it. Maybe we should think of other things like that. Right? So, yeah, let's think about it. That was an interesting suggestion to make suggestions for content on certain weeks, right? The other question is, how would I do it? And that's the thing, like, every week I make a post on the community tab of DSP Reacts saying, hey, submit your clips here. Sometimes I have done that. Maybe people didn't even realize this. When it hit spring, I said, hey, maybe you want to submit clips about spring or Easter. Almost no one did. I think like 2 people did. I don't think people really read the posts. They just say, oh, the post's there every week. I just respond with my clips. They're not even reading the content of the post to see if anything new is being said. So it would actually kind of be hard to get the word out. Hey, everyone, I'm looking for this themed clip or something. Maybe I would have to always mention it like the week before on the live show, right? That's all I could think of. So, okay. Well, let's see here. Listen to this. Someone says, after last night with your bully reacts, this was about 2 months ago. In my honest opinion, as a fan of your new content, I think you should just drop all retro react stuff. It's not cringy as I hoped. It becomes really uncomfortable to watch. Even if it is older commentary from you. It serves for the trolls. They're getting more stuff to use against you. I don't mean this in any way to say your content is bad, but this is a way for me to tell you old Phil is a problem for new Phil. Okay. This is funny to me. All right? I'll be honest. I find this comment hilarious. This is someone who is so afraid. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, if the old Phil gets out, the new Phil's in trouble. The old Phil has been on the internet since the day the old Phil put content on the internet. Do you understand that? Like, there is no content out there that is a secret that no one knows about. My trolls know all about my old videos. They're public right now. I'm not watching super secret videos that aren't public on the internet. Those videos have been public for a decade, for 15 years, right? There's no... It would be one thing if I was like pulling videos out of an archive in my closet that weren't on the internet and they were really risque, bad videos and everyone's like, oh my God. These videos have been on the internet for so long that I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, how does me watching back an old video that anyone could watch right now anyway affect anything? It doesn't. And especially because, you know, you see my reactions to some of the old shit. I'm like, my God, this is like the millionth sexual comment that I made in this stupid video. Like, why couldn't I just shut up? It's cringeworthy shit, right? So I agree it's cringeworthy and I agree it's annoying. But at the same time, the only way for you to grow and improve is to acknowledge the things you've done in your past, right? Not to whitewash, not to erase, but to acknowledge that that was stupid or wrong and to say you're going to do better and you have been doing better and to move on. It'd be one thing, right? If we're watching those cringe videos and I'm like, wow, what cringeworthy content. And then I go on to do a video today that's exactly the same. But you could definitely see the difference between my modern content and the content back then. It couldn't be further different, right? It's super different now. So that's what I mean. Like, this is so silly to me because this is someone who sounds so afraid. Oh, your trolls are going to use it against you. The fucking videos are live now. This isn't the first time that they're live. The videos are literally available right now to watch. So how could they be using it against me in any extra capacity just because I watched it back and reacted to it? It's the same video. It's still there. What you don't understand is that they already have done that, right? They already literally have made negative montages of me from the years of like 2008 to 2012. And they act like those videos from like 12 to 15 years ago are me today, when they're definitely not. But that's what they say. They say, oh yeah, this is him, you know? No, it's not, right? So no, I'm not afraid of the past. I'm not going to stop doing throwback content for fear that someone would say, oh wow, he was a bad person back then because of stuff he said. I've acknowledged that my commentary back then was pretty bad. And I look back at it now and I say, it's embarrassing, and I acknowledge that, and I'm better than that now. And that's the way to do it. Here, what you would do, what you're suggesting, is essentially creating the Streisand effect, right? Exactly. What do you know what the Streisand effect is? So basically what happened with Barbra Streisand is, I guess at one point, there were pictures of her house on the internet. And I don't remember if they were satellite pictures or whatever, but she wanted no one to know what her house looked like. So she did everything in her power, court orders, all kinds of lawsuits, to get these pictures off the internet. And all that happened was that people said, well, if she doesn't want them on the internet, we're just going to post that shit everywhere. So they fucking posted all her shit everywhere. So no matter how hard she tried, it was already so widely dispersed. It actually got way more prominent and well known than if she had just shut the fuck up. And let's be honest, if everyone was just quiet, who the hell would have cared about Barbra Streisand's house? No one would have given two shits. But because she made the stink, that's when things got blown up, right? So if I made a stink about my past, oh, guys, no, don't talk about my past. I promise I'm not like that. And I tried to delete all the videos from the internet and hide all the content off the internet. All that would happen is that someone would find it and then post it all over the place. And it would just become more, oh, look, here's the taboo content that Darkseidfield doesn't want you to see. I have nothing to hide. I literally have absolutely nothing to hide. All my stuff has been public since day one. I'm not ever going to say, oh, I didn't do that. Yes, it did. And, you know, I've moved on from it and I'm better than that. Okay? Sound good? Okay. Someone posted, I'm not kidding, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paragraphs. I'm not reading 8 paragraphs in the suggestion box. That's a novel. That's not a suggestion. That's like a fucking insane, crazy, over-the-top thing, so I'm not doing that. Okay? OP Boone suggested I have a backup of my OBS settings because if my PC keeps getting older and maybe having more and more issues, I want to have those as a backup to put onto a new PC. That's a good suggestion. I think I need to do that. I don't think you could, sadly, I don't think you could do it now when it's live, right? Like he says, go to the file menu and show settings folder. Okay. There it is. This opens up the folder containing a bunch of your OBS settings. You want to focus on the basic folder. You'll find 2 more folders, profiles and scenes. Okay. These are the most important. Profiles house files containing crucial back-end settings, including recording and streaming bit rates. Scenes has files for your front-end settings, like the webcam placement, leaderboard overlays, and capture card. Copy the basic folder into a separate folder named something like OBS Settings Backup, so you keep track of it later. You may want to make a backup every month or so. Okay. And it says what you could do is go to the show settings folder on your new computer and just copy paste, and it should carry over. All right. Cool. I'll do that right now. The only thing is, I mean, if the hard drive fails, I can't get this anyway, right? But let's do a copy. I'm curious, how big does it say it is? 372 kilobytes. Wow, that's pretty small. Okay. So what I will do, I'll put that into my storage over here. So let's go paste here. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so I have it now backed up. I just need to find a way to, like, maybe I'll upload that to, like, on email, because it's very small. Maybe I'll email it to myself, so it's always in an inbox or whatever. So that way, if the hard drive ever crashes, I still have it. Good suggestion. I will do one more, and then we'll get to shout-outs. One more suggestion. When you're starting a new game playthrough in part 1, introduce yourself briefly. Tell newcomers what your channel is about for around 30 seconds or less. It helps them to know what to expect from your channel if they continue to watch. Remember, you only get one chance to make a first impression, and part 1 usually gets the most views, so greet them with open arms. For example, hey everyone, today we're trying out a new Elden Ring Shadows of the Erdtree DLC. If you're new, welcome to the channel. I do daily interactive live streams and raw gameplay videos covering a diverse range of games. If that's what you're into, be sure to subscribe. Let's see what this DLC is about. This is something I noticed a lot of successful channels across various genres have started doing. Okay, another good suggestion. Notably, where I actually usually do that is in my React stuff. If you haven't noticed, like when every week with my React show, DSP versus the Internet, I explain the premise of the show every week. And then with the retro, with the retro React stuff, I say, hey, we're going to react to this playthrough tonight, FYI. Here's how the channel works. This is the support of the channel, blah, blah, blah. So I think I should start doing that with big playthroughs as well, probably in part 1. It's a good suggestion. Okay. Here you go, guys. We did about 20 minutes of suggestion box. I hope you enjoy. It's time to get to shout-outs. Guess what? I have a single shout-out to do. A single shout-out. I received a $1 tip. I heard you were contemplating God of War 3 for your retro react. Please do it. It's one of my favorites of all time. It was in the poll. Sadly, it came in dead last. It really did. It came in absolutely, positively dead last. So because of that, we're not doing it right now. Now, I would consider it for the future. It is one of my oldest playthroughs. And I'll be honest, I probably don't even remember the game. So it might actually be quite entertaining to watch old Phil play an old game that I don't remember. But, yeah, like, sadly, it just did not do well. I put it in there hoping people might be like, oh, nostalgia. And it just didn't catch on at all, actually. People really wanted to see the other games. So, yeah, unfortunate, but it happens, right? Okay, so, guys, here's the deal. We have some time. If you guys want to tag me in chat and just talk about various different things, a little bit of Q&A, or if any other contributions come in, I will shout them out. Okay? So, either or, let's see what you guys want to talk about. Are any suggestions going to be implemented? We already said, well, number one, we would like to see if there's a way that people can submit clips, like their funniest clips or moments over the years or even in a year, but I got to figure out a way to do it so people can actually find that thread, because right now there's really no way to do it, so I need feedback on that. I already backed up my OBS settings, which is one of the suggestions. And what was the other one? There was another, on part 1 of playthroughs, I'm going to introduce myself and just tell basically what my channel and everything is about. So, good morning, Beef Pounder. Yeah, and Jasper, fine. We're actually going to watch an Animal Well trailer today. The Animal Well announcement trailer is in the clips that we're watching today on the show. Do I remember the scene with Aphrodite in God of War 3? Not particularly, but every old God of War game had a gratuitous sex scene with nudity. If you remember, I'd edit it out because old YouTube wouldn't even allow that. Now they do allow that shit, but back then they didn't. They would actually block your video. So I edited over it and did a joke about like celebrities being involved in the scene and stuff like that, which was pretty stupid, but I had to do it. Okay. Would I do influencer boxing for a good cause? No. Stupid. The DSP Throwback is reacting to older content. Is it possible to consolidate DSP reacts and throwbacks so you aren't spread too thin? What do you mean? What do you mean by that, Maximum Turbo? First of all, they're two completely separate channels that are run differently with different methodology. So I don't know what you mean about consolidating. That I don't understand. Would I ever do a charity drive stream? I've answered this question a zillion times over the years, okay? There's two things about charity. Number one, my personal belief is that charity is supposed to be something that you do of your own accord and sacrificing something of yourself, giving of yourself to help someone else. That's true charity. So charity is, oh, there's a food drive and I go and I spend $50 to $100 out of my pocket and I buy food and I go donate it to the food drive. And that's it. That's charity. Okay? Charity is not, oh, I'm running a stream where we're going to be doing content to raise money for something, but it makes me look good because I ran a stream that was a charity event, so now people look at me in a better light. Because in reality, that's not charity. That's philanthropy, which is different, but it's not charity. If you benefit from the event that you're running to help others, that's not charity. You understand? Now, it's nothing wrong with philanthropy. It's just a different philosophy from the kind of stuff that I like to do. All right? Have I ever given to charity? Yes, I have. Have I ever publicly announced it, talked about it, gave you details of it? No, because it's not really anyone's business. I don't want people to think differently of me because I participated in a charity. Okay? It's that simple. So, though there was a time 10 years ago, it was that year 2014 into 2015. All right. I was actually planning to do a charity event. Okay. I was actually working with other YouTubers who I knew to possibly do this stream where I was going to stream for an extended period of time and they were going to jump on as guests and we were going to do interviews. We were going to do crossover gameplay. I was planning all of this. I had two other YouTubers who basically at that point liked me. You know, this is before the insane wave of hate against me and shit. And they actually wanted to participate. They were down for it or whatever. And then what happened was within the span of a year, I was DDoS attacked repeatedly for a couple months. I had to change my IP address. Then I got swatted. Okay. And then basically everyone on the internet just started making me a villain. All right. For personal gain. That's really the reason they did it. It wasn't because, oh, they were trying to make me change for the better. They all realized that this was a way for them to get over. And so all this happened collectively within about a 6 to 8 month period. And I realized there's no way I'm going to be able to do a charity stream or anything like that. If I ever did it, what would happen is they would do absolutely anything they could possibly do to ruin it. They would try to, you know, prank things. Again, probably swat me again, do fucked up stuff. And it got to the point where I was like, charity is something very important. It's something that you want to go down well. You don't want to say you're going to do something for a good cause and then have it flop or fail because of the malicious actions of a bunch of really crazy people. And so I decided I wasn't going to do it. I said, I'm going to cancel it. And, you know, maybe in the future, if things ever got better with my public image, then that I would change. I would do it. Here we are, nearly 10 years later. Has anything changed? No. In fact, if anything, there's even more insane fucking people out there who try to mess with me on a daily basis. The only reason they fail is because I ignore it all, right? Like, literally, there's people out there who just want ill of me and my family for no reason. What have I ever done, right? So, sadly, as much as I would love to do it, like, would I feel good if I held a stream and we got people on this stream donating to a good cause and we raised thousands of dollars for a good cause and we're able to donate it? That would make me feel great, right? But number one, it's not charity. That would be a philanthropy stream. It's not. It's actually not the meaning of charity. A lot of people don't understand what charity really means. Okay, but that's really what it would be, a philanthropy stream, which is fine. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but you got to categorize it correctly, right? But I guarantee you that today, here's the thing, you can't just do an impromptu charity stream. You have to have it set up. You have to have people know that it's going to happen so that, okay, I'm going to donate to this. I'm planning on doing it or whatever, right? As opposed to, oh, spur of the moment, someone's doing charity. Well, maybe I could drop like $1. If you plan things like that ahead of time, basically you'll be able to do things a lot better, right? But immediately, the moment that I announced I would be doing anything, charity or whatever, these idiots, obsessed weirdos on the internet would try to ruin it. They would try to contact the charity and say awful things about me. They would probably try to fuck with payment processing. They do everything they possibly can, right? Or come in with 1 million, donations and then fucking charge them back later and shit like that, right? So there's literally no point to me trying to do it at this point. Again, I'll just say the same thing that I said 10 years ago. If things were ever going to change, if there was going to be a public perception about me that was going to shift so that people would not be absolutely insanely obsessed with hurting me and my family members, then I would say I would consider doing a charity event. I would love to do one. There's no reason that I shouldn't be able to do one. But then again, there's no reason that I shouldn't be able to do a lot of things that I can't do because of these weirdo people who just are messed up in the head. So I just have to accept that things that are okay for others are not okay for me because of the crazy, obsessed, weirdo people of the internet stalking me at every moment and trying to ruin everything. Okay? Sucks. I don't like that, but that's just my reality. Okay? Okay, hold on one second. Put it on the floor. I want to get it. Okay, I'm back. Okay, we got a little bit of extra time. If you guys want to talk, right? A little bit of extra time. Oh yeah, Maximum Turbo. Yeah, I can't mix. The whole idea, DSP Reacts and Throwback are very different channels. The React channel is just content that is not gaming related usually, but it's me reacting to a subject matter, whether that's clips from the internet, reviewing a TV show. I'm going to be doing React content soon of all these press conferences coming up, the Microsoft, Sony, Summer Game Fest, etc. That's the React channel content. The Throwback channel is literally me putting forth my old content in a presentable way or reacting to the old content that I've already made. It's completely different subject matters. They're not even the same. You see? No, I would not do a podcast with me and Wings. I'm not doing any content with that guy. I can't do any content with people who are associated with toxic people on the internet. And as you know, sadly, there's these groups of people who they just attach themselves to really toxic, fucking negative, awful people. I'm not going to associate with those people. Okay? I can't. For me, for my brand, for you, your well-being, I can't be associating with those people who are going to be involved in that awful stuff. So there was a time when I would consider it, but now things have definitely changed. And no, I'm not ever going to do stuff with Wings because of that situation. It's his own fault. He decided to go that route. That's his prerogative to do so. But he has to understand that that's just going to close doors because there's going to be people who are rational and intelligent who don't want to deal with that level of negativity and drama and stupidity. And I'm not going to be associated with that at all. So. What would I get an Apple Watch for? What the hell would that serve? What the hell purpose would an Apple Watch serve? Again, these Apple devices, I feel like Apple now used to be ahead of the technology. Like they invented the iPod and the iPhone. Now, all those things they created are common, and now they're not creating anymore. Like the stuff that they create just doesn't have use. That stupid Apple Vision shit, who the fuck wants that? What does it even do that you need it for that insane price point, right? Outside of that, like, what do they make? What purpose does the Apple Watch serve? Exactly. All the data on your Apple Watch is in your phone. So just have a phone. What do you need a watch for? Right? They've completely lost their way as a company. It's sad because they were literally the innovators of creative tech, and they have completely and utterly lost that. They just don't do anything creative anymore. What's up, Magoo? All right, guys, we have a little bit of extra time, about 10 more minutes, but then I got to get going because we do have to set up the React show. And if you do contribute to the stream in any way, it helps the React stream, all right? Right now, we have one contribution of $1. Just an observation. Do I have a secret pasta sauce recipe or a brand I buy? I have a pasta sauce recipe that's my family sauce that I've actually changed over the years to be my own liking. But I stopped doing it a little bit after COVID because it was too hard to get the ingredients, and we never went back to it. So now we'll go and we just buy pasta sauce from the store. Do we have a particular brand? No, we've actually changed several different times over the last several years to different sauces. So. Generation Z, I talked all about Another Crab's Treasure earlier on the show. Check out that segment later. I don't want to go back to that topic when we've already covered it very thoroughly. There's a Street Fighter live action series announced earlier today, a Netflix original. When the hell was that announced? I was literally checking news all morning. That wasn't in my news feed at all. So unless it was announced while I was on this show, which very well could have been, it wasn't news. Let's see. If it was announced, it's literally not trending anywhere. Street Fighter did post 4 hours ago and said, with the Kuma update on May 22nd, there will be new combo trials available due to the upcoming balance changes, trying them all out in the fighting ground. A new option, reset combo damage, is also available so you can optimize your practice sessions. So yeah, there's going to be new combo trials available for every character showing off the balance changes. That's good, because I would like to do that with all the characters I'm using. So I see that. I'm literally staring at the Street Fighter trends right now. There is nothing about this Netflix show. Nothing at all. Yeah, literally nothing. So, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. The Beef Pounder did a super chat. Says, Rockstar co-founder Dan Houser's new game is an open-world game set in a sci-fi universe. Pretty excited to see his new ventures. One of my game writers ever. GTA in space. I love your opinion. I don't really know much about Dan Houser. I just don't. So I can't really attest. I can't really attest to the quality of his work or how much or what he actually did as one of the founders of Rockstar. If you're excited, then I'll take your word for it. You know? But for me, I don't really know that much, so I can't really say anything. The Netflix CEO tweeted it 30 minutes ago. Well, that's probably why I don't know about it. He tweeted while I was on the show, and it's literally not even trending on social media yet. So that's why. Am I going to play the Thousand Year Door remake? I'm interested in it, but right now I'm not interested in any super long form, RPG style games. I'm doing Fallout, but that's more of a Western action-based RPG. I'm not really getting into the other ones right now. So it's maybe in the long term I would go to it, but I'm not going to play it now. No. Okay. I think it's time to wrap it up. Let's wrap up the show because there's not particularly too much going on in the chat anyway. Let's wrap up the show. That way I can get the React show set up and get us going over there. Remember, when this stream ends, you're going to see a little pop-up if you're here live that says, hey, everyone's heading over to DSP Reacts. Please head over there, and we're going to have a fun afternoon reacting to clips from all over the internet. It should be a good time. And that's it. Tomorrow, I'm sure I'll be telling you all about how the React Day went. And any other game news. Maybe I'll be talking about this live action show that apparently just got announced and more. All right, everyone. So thank you so very much. I hope that you are enjoying all of my content as of late. New content coming in just a few days with new games and rebalances and all the like. And I hope that you will join me for that. In the meantime, thank you all for watching the Level 1 podcast. I will see you tomorrow.